I know drinking from this mug, he holds up his branded mug, always brings a smile to my face. I know stupid songs that I sing out loud to myself will bring a smile to myself. I know certain individuals will always make me smile. So work out whatever those things for you are, big or small, and start doing more of them.
Hello, and you're with Aveline Clark on the Six Star Business Podcast, where we have conversations about what it takes to be six star as a six-star leader in a six-star business in a six-star world. And in this episode, we sat down with Faris Aranki. He's the founder and CEO of Sheer Ghetto Consulting in the UK. What I loved about this conversation was how Faris approaches the world, and he's very creative in his thinking, very light, doesn't take himself seriously, and brings that creative lightness and fun into the workplace, even though he's actually super intelligent and has a wonderful way of working with organizations to help lift their business effectiveness through the strategy and emotional intelligence. He does things differently, and it was just really clear to me and to Corey how he is different, and he just brings this warmth, and he's got this magnetic kind of energy where people just like being around him because he is fun. He brings a natural sense of fun. So we had a great conversation. There's a lot that we got from this, and I really appreciated everything that he gave us. So sit back and enjoy the conversation with Faris Aranki. Well, here we are, guys. It's another episode of the Six Star Business Podcast. I'm here. My co-host is Corey. It is so nice to see you again, Corey. How are you?
I'm very happy to have Faris on. So looking forward to an exciting 1 hour session. And the guy has to tell a lot. So it's amazing amazing journey. And so
awesome.
Excited to hear it.
We both are. Faris, welcome to the podcast. As Corey just said, we're excited to have you here.
Thanks, Av. I'm excited to be here, but I'm now a little bit nervous after that intro. You know what? I will be Googling anecdotes in the background, and we'll have a good conversation. Whatever. No, it's great to be here this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever your podcast listeners are listening.
Fabulous. Well, I know they're from everywhere, and this is a multi-continent show today. We've got Germany, Australia, and the UK represented. And so for our listeners who are everywhere, they'd like to get to know you, Faris. So I'd love you to share with us a bit about yourself. So where exactly are you? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And maybe something you like to do when you're not busy serving people.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, here I am in the heart of central London and the United Kingdom, and you get to see what I call Sheer Ghetto Towers. Why do I call this Sheer Ghetto Towers? The knife block. I run a business called Sheer Ghetto Consulting, and it's called the knife block because Sheer Ghetto is the Japanese word for a sharpening stone. So we sharpen knives, we sharpen businesses is what I do, actually. I help businesses and individuals be more effective. And I do that through a variety of techniques that I've learned on a 20-year corporate career that has whistle-stopped me through strategy consulting, working in the energy industry, and actually started off as a school teacher. And it's amazing what you can learn from different junctures and if you apply them to getting the best out of people, because that's fundamentally what me and my team do. We get the best out of people to unlock strategy and company performance. So hopefully I'll get to tell you a bit more about that, because some of your listeners are probably going, I still don't really understand. And I know that because my mum and dad don't understand after years of me doing it, and which makes for very awkward family dinners. But no. So I serve everybody because my joy is getting teams to work better together. And do you know what? If you can do that, you can unlock some great things out of them without necessarily changing anything else. The power of having positive teams and great stuff. But so that's who I serve. Now, my failing memory is like, what were the other questions she asked me? How do I serve them? Well, we'll talk about that. I've actually used a sort of a made-up formula. It's not really made up, but I put together this equation where I said, look, if you're going to be successful in life, it's about having a very clear vision about what you want to achieve. Doesn't matter if it's like your overall company or just what you want to achieve from the day. So once you have that clear, then the three components that will unlock success for you are IQ, EQ, and FQ. And IQ is about having the right ideas, the right approach to getting there. EQ is being able to take others with you on that journey, and FQ is the focus to actually get it done. But I'm sure we'll touch on those things. So that's who I serve, how I serve them, and what do I do outside of work? A whole plethora of things. I like, it feels like a dating profile. I love spending time with my family, friends. Do you know what? I'm the kind of person who loves doing new stuff. I will always have new challenges on the go, new hobbies on the go. But I'm a big exercise and sports fan. I'm a big culture and arts fan. And I am so glad to be back traveling and seeing the world again. So there's a little flavor of the things I do. And hopefully gives you a nice setup for a whole interesting conversation.
Fabulous. Thank you, Faris. Being in the UK, you had a couple of big sporting events. Well, one's still going, isn't it? The Wimbledon at the moment. I don't know if you're into tennis.
I am into tennis, and it's never a dull moment with certain players and certain things. And everyone's going crazy here because we've got a Brit in the men's semi-finals.
Okay,
that's like rarer than a dodo. But also equally exciting for you soccer fans, football fans, the Women's European Championships kick off tonight in the UK. So great to see. It's going to be the largest women's football event ever.
Wow.
And there's a real buzz around the country, kind of, rightly so, to the same magnitude as when we had the European Championships for the men's tournament a couple of years ago.
Wow, that is big.
Hey, everybody, come to London, come to the UK.
Yeah.
It's a place to be. I'm not paid by any tourist board.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, I'm willing to plug other countries as well.
Okay. They'll be very happy to hear that.
I mean, Av, you'll see product placement throughout your things. Here you go. You got my company mug. I
like
may
that.
also grab, other products throughout the journey, but no.
For the listeners, he's holding up, self-promoting, he's holding up a mug with his logo and business name on it. Looks very nice.
Thanks.
So,
Faris, since you're as talkative as myself, and communication is a very vital and important component in interacting with customers, how are customers perceiving you when you come in as an outgoing personality with the ton of knowledge of consulting, coming with a teacher background? So what type of people are you facing? Are they always very open? Do you need to crack the nut? Or tell us a little bit about that. What is your favorite customer and how do you get to your customers? Because I heard a lot since we know each other for a while. So if you would dig into that would be good.
Sure. That's a great question. Do you know what? Ironically, Corey, I can be talkative, but also I can be very quiet. What I do, what I teach people to do as well is about reading the room. A key skill, a key part of EQ, emotional intelligence, is read what's happening in front of you and flex. And actually, normally, my default position is not to speak so long. I'm very conscious on this podcast. I can see the actual seconds that I'm speaking. There's a little timer in the bottom. I prefer to listen because you get so much more out of listening. But I can happily talk if that's what's needed for a podcast, for a group that's very quiet. Or to get the ball rolling. So it's, I will, if you see me, it depends. What you'll see is the reaction to the team or the individual in front of me. But I would advocate if you want to impact and you want to learn, then less talking is the key. And do you know what? Actually having a timer is a fantastic thing. I often use it with teams, a timer, to record and show them just how much each individual is talking. Who is dominating a conversation, who is not, and where can we get maybe even better in our behaviours as a team? So that's what I do when I interact with clients, and so it's very weird because a lot of people will go, "I never knew you could," when they've only ever seen me quiet, they'll be like surprised that I can be loud and sort of taking over a meeting, or vice versa. They always associate me with being the person at the front, and then they're surprised when change the dynamic in a room, and I'll just be sitting there taking notes. So yeah, I'm a bit of a chameleon in that sense, but because getting the best out of teams, adapting is a key principle that I apply. And as I sort of alluded to in my opening statement, I work with so many different types of companies, lots of different challenges. So I need to be flexible. Now, Corey's question was, how do I approach those companies? How do I get such a mix? And Corey knows my secret, which is I use voice notes to reach out to people. So I have adapted my business model to sort of promote EQ and emotional intelligence even into my business development. So I send people very warm, personalized messages, which just gets them to return my call. And as long as you can have a conversation, a coffee with somebody, and you are listening about their problems, I found that just generates work. You talk to 10 people, one of them will want to work with you if you talk to them in a nice way. So it's not complicated, but it's incredibly effective.
That's really cool. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this, or maybe micro, small business owners that are thinking, wow, I haven't thought about it like that. Oh, I wonder if I could do something similar. That's really cool. Faris, I'm really fascinated to hear a bit about your journey that's brought you to where you are today. I heard you mention a corporate career and being a school teacher as well. Would you like to share a little bit about your journey with us and what specifically sort of brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to in the start in my intro about myself is I'm a person who likes variety. I like challenge. I like learning new stuff. I didn't necessarily know that about myself or appreciate it so wholeheartedly when I was a bit younger. So I started my career coming out of education, and one main driver for me was I wanted to see the world. So I took up a teaching career. And I ended up going randomly to teach in Latin America. And I ended up in the country of El Salvador, teaching maths and economics to a bunch of high school students. And so began an adventure for me because I kind of enjoyed the randomness and what I was getting out of it. And I went and continued teaching for 5 years. And I taught in the Middle East. I taught in South Asia. I taught back in the UK. And I came to a point where I realized, actually, I enjoyed the variety, not necessarily the teaching wasn't my main driver, particularly when you're in a tough school where you're basically taking knives off kids and having a shouting match at them every day and you're not actually teaching them anything. That's when you really realize, do I enjoy this profession? So I then made a pivot into the corporate world because that was my next learning experience and learning environment I wanted to. But I say that as though you can just one day go, oh, I'm not a teacher anymore. I'm just going to join a business world. It turned out it wasn't that simple, and I had to start again effectively. So there I was in my late 20s, and I joined a graduate scheme for an energy company, and quickly got going in sort of devouring the ground in front of me, so to speak. So I ended up in their strategy team. I learned all about the energy industry. It was brilliant. I learned how we make energy, how we sell it, how we exchange it, trade it, all these things about getting oil and gas and electricity out of the ground and into people's houses. And I was having such a great fun time. I was approached after a few years to join strategy consulting. And I saw this as brilliant. You know, the idea of being paid to go into multiple companies, work on their strategic problems, learn a lot. I thought, this is perfect. There's variety. This keeps me going. If I was honest with myself, I was getting a bit bored at the company I was at. And I just wanted my next challenge. So I moved into strategy consulting, and so began the next chapter of my career, which, 12 years working for different strategy consulting firms. And I worked for, big firms, strategy houses. I worked for boutique firms. So I got a real good flavor. And 2.5 years ago, I decided to set up my own company. I was like, I can do this. I've learned enough in this journey. But the real driver was I really wanted to focus on a specific area that I knew I had talents, this sort of not coming up with the ideas, but really being able to get people to buy into strategies and getting teams all aligned, because that for me was a major failing or in the clients that I'd worked with historically. So that's kind of like a potted history of my journey today. God, but so much has happened. Even, let's just take the last 2.5 years. There's been a pandemic. So setting up a business a few months before a pandemic is probably the stupidest thing I've done, but also one of the most enjoyable. So a bit of a varied career, but a very enjoyable one.
How did the different cultures, when you have been teacher, also shaped your personality? Being in El Salvador, in the US, how did they enrich you as a person, and how did you leverage that skill set going forward, the experience in treating customers, helping customers, forming team spirits, aligning them on the corporate goals?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's a great question. I was just talking to someone yesterday who, a recent graduate who is in Vietnam, and it's his first ever trip abroad. And I said to him, I'm jealous. You're about to go through a really difficult experience, but it's going to be amazing because you're going to, learn about yourself, right? So great emotional intelligence, know yourself, know how you operate in different scenarios. It's better than finding out in a really important meeting, oh my God, I do this behavior, or I get scared here, or I get talkative here. But even more important, you're going to shatter your view of the world and realize that 98% of people don't think and operate like you. All right. And I told him a story. When I was living in Nepal. And I was living with a local family. And the first 3 months, the dad of the family would shout at me every day because I would ask for things like, can you pass me the salt? And he'd pass it to me and I'd say, thank you. Or I'd say sorry when I, bumped into him. And he said, why the hell do you keep saying thank you and sorry? Right? In our culture, we only say thank you if somebody saves your life. If someone passes you their salt, that's just a human being. You should pass somebody the salt. What the hell? And I was like, but for all my teenagers, all my childhood, I was told to say thank you when this was good. So basically I was being reprogrammed and kind of like it blew my mind. And this is just one small thing that a group of people thought completely different. Not only that, they got irritated by how I operated. And I thought I was being polite. So I entered a social situation thinking, oh, this is great. This is what I should do. For him, it was very irritating. And it made me think, what other things do I approach that somebody looks at completely differently? That might be holding my effectiveness back when I interact with them. And this isn't just me, this is the thing. And it's not until you can open your mind and flip it and say, maybe, and you'll never, you could second guess everything, but the best way to find out is go ask those people. Go learn how they like it. And I always talk about, it's about changing your mindset from the golden rule, which is treat others how you want to be treated, to the platinum rule, which is treat others how they want to be treated. And so for me, the more cultures I expose myself to, the more I learn about new companies, new products, new behavior. I'm not necessarily going to walk into a room instant, but it reminds me to have that curiosity and not take my view of the world for granted.
I haven't heard that before. Treat others as they want to be treated.
It's immensely powerful once you start thinking like that.
And do you operate that way just for clients, or is this like beyond that? Is this also with your friends and family?
It's just my default setting, really. It's my friends and family and new people that I meet. That's why I listen. My instinctive is to listen more. So when I go into a new company, for example, even if I'm there to help them formulate a strategy or run a problem-solving session or a team bonding, I say, if it's important, can I meet each individual on their own for 45 minutes? Because in that 45 minutes, I will listen. It's amazing how much people will open up in 45 minutes if you create the right environment. You will learn so much about them. I always say, in that 45 minutes, my goal is to learn a person's WIFMs and whammies, right? WIFM stands for what's in it for me, and whammy, what's against my interest. And again, if you create an environment, people will happily tell you, I like this, I hate this. Oh my God, that person irritates me. I like to get up first thing in the morning, do my morning workout, and then do this. they're suddenly sharing their world with you. And that is my instinct when I meet new people. And when I, then the challenge is, can you remember all that if you're meeting loads of new people? But yeah, keep asking questions. People don't expect you to have a dossier in front of you when you're talking to them. So that's a good thing.
Has that been a game changer, Faris? That new default position of what you just explained? Because I'm hearing you talk about it, and I'm thinking about my experiences, both in corporate and in small business world. And I can't say that there are that many people that I've experienced who have operated in that way.
Yeah, so that was the epiphany 2.5 years ago. I sort of assumed people could do this. I just took it for granted in myself. And I found myself in a company where I was being sent in, and I'd had sort of this feedback sporadically, but I was more and more being sent into difficult clients to just go work your magic. And I would say to them, but I have no context. I haven't worked with this. You've got a team on the ground there. They've been working with them and they said, yeah, but you're really good at running meetings. You're really good at just getting people to get on with each other. So, and that was just happening more and more. They were like, oh, we got this difficult meeting. We got this difficult client. You go. And the penny dropped, that, hang on a minute, maybe not everyone looks at the world this way. Not everyone sort of adapts and does this. And maybe that's what the business world we needed. And that was what I needed to set up a business around. Other people are great at doing project management, at doing, all the analysis. And I enjoyed some of those aspects. I really enjoyed breaking down a problem. But actually, just going in and saying, right, where are you all at? What do you need? Just focus on that. People say focus. You can build businesses not by being broad, but so that was a game changer for me in terms of in my career. But I'd had those epiphanies along the way, and I think it all goes back to being a teacher. Probably even longer than that, right? Your formative years. I've got many hypotheses as to why this is now my default setting, and being this kind of analytical person I am, I still call them hypotheses because I can never be certain unless I was in a controlled experiment and got a bunch of scientists to prod me. But I'm not in the latest series of Stranger Things, so I don't think that's going to happen.
I would say that the way how you are, your personality, how you approach people, you actually have your USP in the person you are under the umbrella of your company. Have you totally set yourself aside and above peers, consultants who are out there by your approach? Because as Evelyn said, in all her years in corporate, she haven't met anybody who is saying, I'm treating the customers how they want to be treated. Very often you say people just want to sell. They're just talking how great they are, how great the product is because it's served to IBMs, the Unilevers of the world, but it doesn't touch the challenges customers have by just... And you are flip-flopping everything around and you're getting to the bone of the challenges, and not only to the bone within the environment of the company, but also addressing time to every individual to understand how does that person fit into the current team, what is his fears, desires, and incorporate that into a solution you present, which is being perceived as magic. Yeah, because as you said, not a lot of people are thinking like that. I luckily thinking like you. So, yeah, but how would you describe that?
I mean, there are many amazing professionals out there. One of the great things about now doing what I do is I actively go looking for other people who do similar things. And what I love is there are loads of people who are coming at it not necessarily in exactly the same way, but in slightly the same way. And it's not just consultants. There's professional coaches. There are people who do this. I run a small networking group, which is full of amazing people that have completely different careers. The only thing that unifies them is A, they all know me, and B, they're all building a small business. But in there, you've got dentists, accountants, coaches, financial advisors, and many of them do elements of this, right? But just because that's their nature, and that's how they go about building a business. So I would never be arrogant enough to say that I'm taking a unique way. And actually, your point is really a fascinating one, because I often say, when people say, what's one of the challenges of your business? One of my biggest challenges is the clients, is their self-awareness of clients. Do they need these services, right? I typically work with senior people. Senior people don't get senior by admitting they have a lot of weaknesses, and they particularly don't say they're crap at running their team. So actually overcoming that barrier of somebody going, hey, do you know what, Faris? I really find I struggle to get my team motivated or get them to all understand. No, if anything, they'll ring me up and go, my team's dysfunctional. Can you come and sort them out? Right, which is usually a really interesting thing for me, because I'm like, is the team dysfunctional, or is it you and you're just completely unaware of the impact you're having on your team? I'm not saying that's always the answer, but so self-awareness and a willingness to accept help is a major challenge. Going back to my approach to work and small business owners listening to this, my belief is many of us are selling something or operating in a space where there's other people. Of course, it's very rare to have a completely unique product offer. But the one thing that you have that is unique, that nobody else can have, is you. Right? There's 7 billion of us, 7 billion unique. Nobody has the range of contacts, the exact makeup of the people they know. Nobody has the exact approach. So unleash that, right? That's why my approach to work is to just A, be me, and B, go and send voice notes to people I already know in a warm way, because nobody else knows those people the way I know them. That was just like, so the more you can, I've never been one to have a different persona at work to the office. The more you can unleash you, the more honest you'll be, and the greater return, I believe. Now, I'm sure I could have a debate with someone about that, but that's how I come to work over the years.
So meaning being authentic, the far as you are in the private life versus in the corporate work life, that's one of your success factors with your sharpened skills, hard skills, as well as the soft skills.
Yeah. We haven't talked about the third part of my equation is FQ, is focus quotient. Now, I often talk about people have limited amounts of focus. Let's say you have 100 points. Let's imagine you're like playing, a video game or a top trump card. You have 100 points of focus. What you choose to spend it on is actually not in your decision sometimes. But let's imagine you could choose how to spend that 100 points of focus, right? If I said to someone, you've got a really important task today, like a key business meeting, you've got to spend time with your kids, and how much of that time are you going to spend? They'd probably say 90 or 100 points. And they go, all right, okay, great. I say, okay, but then let's say you get an urgent phone call that distracts you. That takes 25 of your points. Even if you sort out what you need on the phone call, the way the human mind works, you're still thinking about that phone call when you hang up, right? But you go back to your task. And then half an hour later, you realize you're hungry. So another 20 points go because your mind's just on food, right? And then you realize the room's too warm. So then you lose time to go and sort out the radiator or whatever. Then you need to print something, but the printer's not working. And you have to call a help center and blah, blah. And before you know it, you're down to 10 points. And the most important task that you said that this is the thing I need to do today, you're only giving 10 points of focus, not necessarily because of something of your own. Now, I believe switching personas is a focus thing, is mentally taxing, right? It takes some effort, even if you're really good at it. Even switching little behaviors takes, let's say, 5 points, but it probably takes like 40 points in my made-up voice formula. So why would I invest that energy when I want to liberate it? So that was how my mind looks at it. Is like I'm going to strip away things that absorb my focus and my energy. And that might mean always eating before a big meeting, because mitigating the risk before it happens. I have a mantra for clients, which is always bring biscuits. It's a bit of a joke with my clients, but I'm like, have we made sure everyone's eaten before this meeting? If not, bring something to keep their energy levels, because I don't want that to be the thing why we cannot agree on a key decision point. Or I don't want, the room layout or the room temperature to be the thing that stops us agreeing that a £10 billion deal that we've been at loggerheads for years about.
I was chuckling to myself, Faris, when you were talking about that, the whole, what about the printer? And then there's this and there's that, and but I'm hungry. And like, how do you know what happens to so many people? Because I'm like, I can relate to that. And I'm fascinated to know, is it something that, do you feel that we allow ourselves to be distracted by all these things because we haven't actually made the task the priority? Is it a lack of consciousness?
It's a good debate. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I'm an amateur. I think some of it is, yeah. If you read a lot about procrastination, a lot of procrastination is a task avoidance or gearing yourself up. But equally, I think these are things that are proven to distract people. So they would happen anyway if you allowed them, because the human mind is a fascinating place, right? And it is designed to protect itself. So all these reactions are evolutionary things to make sure you're okay and to check in. And actually, it's good, right? Because otherwise, imagine, I would hate a world where we could just sit anesthetized, just working on a task. That would be scary for so many reasons. So you need those. But what I'm saying is limit the impact they have on you. Know yourself. That's why those formative years for me, and where I began to know myself, I knew, I'm going to react in this behavior. I know, for example, that I love exercise, but I hate, like most people, getting going with exercise. Right? I always say I'm a runner. The hardest part is crossing my own doorstep. So I try and reduce the cognitive load to getting to that doorstep. Have the trainers already ready in the morning. Have everything laid out so that you remove the excuses in the thought process. So you just get going. What else in your life, if you actually know that about yourself, can you set up to remove that sort of draining of focus and that, and just get you going?
So what you literally said is that the biggest obstacle is always yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, so that's a big obstacle. No.
But in fact, I mean, everybody is creating and having their own roadblocks built by themselves and by their beliefs, and you just literally help them to unblock them, unleash their potential by being, what is it actually? Being nicer to yourself, being kind to yourself, because very often our inner voices keep telling us you're not worth, you're not due, you're failing, and. It's a lot of about psychology, as you said.
It is a lot, and again, I reiterate, I'm not a psychologist. I love reading. I absorb these things. I test them. I learn. I don't, So a lot of it is you are a barrier to yourself, but you might not know it. And I call them dilutions. How are you diluting your own impact? Right, and that can be the assumptions you make in your head or the story you make in your head. Right, and so many of us have this set of assumptions that we either acknowledge or maybe we don't. Like, I couldn't possibly go and talk to that person. Right, a new person in a bar or at a networking. I couldn't ask my boss for a raise. Right, I couldn't do that. And you're like, why? Right? How do you know that? You've already had the whole conversation in your head, and you haven't even tried. Right, so you're diluting your own impact. Right? And you can you can tell people these things, and they'll go, I get that, but I'm still not going to do it. Right, I can't overcome. So we are naturally diluting ourselves, but other ways. We don't realize we're diluting ourselves, or we're completely unaware. And let me give you two examples that I actively do with teams, and I tried. So one, I read once that if you do exercise before a creative activity, you will create more ideas, whether you enjoy the exercise or not. This is crucial. So let's say I'm going to run a brainstorming session with a client. I will start off a point, and I'll get them all to do some exercise. I'll get them to stand up, do some star jumps. I'll get them to I actually use something called Kung Fu punctuation. So you get a whole bunch of executives stand up and do Kung Fu while making stupid noises. Right. And they'll actually say to me, this is stupid. Why are we doing it? And I say, you're now going to have more ideas come out of you as a group. And I don't care if you didn't enjoy that. Right. And I always see it. Right. I take groups that were previously not necessarily, and again, I haven't done a control experiment, but we get more out of them. Right. Or I remember reading once about a group, an experiment where they got a bunch of British salespeople to put on American accents and do their job. And on average, the entire group sold more because they associate Americans with being more confident and outgoing. And so just by putting on an accent and a persona, that's what they were, right? So I often get teams to put on accents or change. I say, right, imagine you're this person. I'll give them a prop if they want, right? And it's how you can turn a very quiet person into a different person. And they're like, that is amazing. I was like, no, you were diluting yourself. All I did was give you a technique to undilute yourself and not think about it. And I stole it from somebody else, by the way. I read it somewhere and I just tried it on you. So we hold ourselves back. We dilute way more than we realize. So, and if someone could come along and give you, a handbook on how to remove some of those dilutions, of course you'd take them. Is my belief.
What's the thing that really provides you with the greatest sense of joy and fulfillment in what you do?
Do you know what? It's just that seeing a moment where you make a difference for a person, that their working life or their personal life is not going to be the same again. Right? It's very similar to when I was back in the classroom and you'd be with teaching an 11-year-old child who maybe hated mathematics, and you somehow got them to understand something like algebra, and you knew at that point things were going to be different for them. That eureka moment. So I still get that vibe, that buzz in when I'm working with teams in a meeting, in a thing where I just see the attitude change, or people all buy into the same idea, and I just know, right, that's going to be different from now on. So that's the whole ethos behind my business. That's what I enjoy. And it's funny. I often tell people that I only have one metric in my business that I measure every week without fail. And that is, for me and the team, how much fun are we having? Okay. On a Friday, we will do a stupid task just to clear our heads. We will then answer the question on a scale of 1 to 10, how much fun have you had this week? And do you know what? I find that the more fun we have as a team, the better the business runs. The more the revenues come in, the more clients are happy. So don't overcomplicate it. We have fun, they have fun, we make a difference, and we enjoy what we do.
I love that. I was actually going to ask, what do you measure? And you went and answered that already, and it's fun. This is the Six Star Business Podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated to hear what you have felt or thought, or what it means to you to be Six Star in your words and your language.
I think Six Star to me means going above and beyond what you think for yourself, what others think you will help them achieve, and just constantly looking to outperform. And I don't necessarily think that has to apply to everything you do. That would just be exhausting, right? But again, look at, reflect every week, reflect every month. Are you giving it your 6 star? Are people getting 6 stars? And if not, okay, go back to the equation. What's stopping you from doing the 6 stars? It could be there are big barriers in your way. Okay, so but it could be, hey, maybe you're giving it your all because this isn't what was meant to be for you, right? The one thing I've learned from 20 years is don't be afraid to go explore what is important to you. And it can be scary, and it can be maybe not the right time, but actually changing things up and giving it a go to find your 6 star is just as important as delivering 6 star.
What is your main driver in life? I mean, you're passionate, energized, outgoing, love to connect with people, help. So what is driving you? What is giving you the fulfillment in doing all these things?
Well, apart from hanging out with you, Corey, it's like I said, it's it's that kind of, it's tongue in cheek. It's that have that fun, right? Is learn more stuff, meet more people, never stop asking questions. I don't want to get whenever later on in my life look back and say I didn't give it a go. I didn't put myself out there. And sure, this I'm on here and I'm very cheery. There are some tough times here, right? Everyone experiences tough times, and but the more I do other stuff, it reminds me that the tough times are temporary. That that the next adventure is around the corner, and actually you could get through those tough times a lot easier. So yeah, I just want to keep that spirit of adventure, that spirit of fun going. That drives me fundamentally.
Is that also the motivator for setting up your own community, to expand the fun factor, which is not very present in a lot of businesses, small business, medium, to remind them to be more themselves? And
yeah, a little bit, but hey, let's go back to first principles. There's also a selfish element to setting up a community.
Yes.
I just love community, right? The one of the main challenges I found about setting up my own business, and maybe some of you entrepreneurs are out there, is the loneliness, is the going from a corporate world where you're surrounded by people who are with you every day. Maybe they don't want to be with you. That's a different matter. But people you can turn to go for a coffee, you can celebrate successes, you can hang up the phone from a difficult meeting and go, God, that guy is such a, and just to be robbed of that overnight out of your own choice was just blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is weird. I don't like it. So I built a community because I wanted to overcome that. And I didn't actually think I was building a community. I was just finding people who were in a similar situation saying, hey, do you want to support each other? Do you want to go and work in the same place on a Friday? And then before I knew it, I had about 30 people who were there. And so it became a community, and we all support each other. We all nudge each other. We're there to give ideas, got each other's backs, to celebrate, to commiserate. Now I look at it as a place to help people have fun. But originally it was like purely selfish. I need friends. But that's okay as well.
Well, you've just described one of the basic fundamentals of being human, right? We seek to be in community with others. We need others to feel whole and human. So you just went out and created it. Good on you.
Yeah. And you're never, like you said, Av, you're never the first person to experience something. Yeah. So look around, stand on the shoulders of giants, use other people's great ideas and initiatives, and do it unashamedly. That's what I do. So thank you to all the companies that I borrowed your great ideas.
What has been, to be the person you are with all your positive sides, who evolved over time, understanding other people, this is a product, a result of all the experiences alongside your life. And there hasn't been also, from time to time, dark experiences, bad experiences where you have been really challenged, which actually made you overcome your own personality at that time, where you build your own roadblocks ahead of your road. Mm-hmm. So what would you say was the most impactful experience you had where in the beginning you said, I'm never going to overcome and go beyond this one, and which made you to a better version of yourself, where you are able to serve others as you do today?
Oh, I can think of countless ones.
Yeah.
What you discover about life is they never stop coming at you. So there'll always be something. But yeah, I think back to my student days. One springs out to mind where I missed a key deadline, which changed the outcome of my studies, and it was really, really impactful. And being so young, I didn't really know how to handle it. And as often happens when you have a bad setback, you think this is it. This is. I can't come, I can't come back from this. This is all doom and gloom. What are others going to think? I can't admit it. And that you have no control over how long you do have control, but that period seems to last forever. Not only is it the bad event, it's the where your mind goes to and how you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. In hindsight, obviously I did get through it, and but I think back to that time and all those dark feelings that I had, and that's a real driver for me when I do have difficult times, both positive and negative. Right, the little child in me can go back and say, "Oh, it's just that all over again." But the adult, and this is where the positivity and getting myself into the adult mindset says, "Hey, that was 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Look at where you are now. Look how, you overcome that. You've got this. You've got whatever is your latest challenge." And I often say to people, that's another great reason of knowing yourself. How can you switch to your adult mind? How can you switch to your positive mind? Find the techniques that work for you, because the other mind is not going to do anyone any good. And the longer you stay in it, the more challenges it will create and the more problems for you.
That's really insightful, and I feel like it links back to what you said earlier about know yourself. So understanding who you are, as well as understanding, how you respond in the dark times versus the positive times. This is really important for us to be the best versions of ourselves, right?
Yeah, completely. Like I said, these things will happen. So don't beat yourself. You can't be the perfect version of you all the time, right? I always say nobody can sprint 100% through life. Sometimes you got to jog, or sometimes you got to stop. That's okay. But how do you get yourself back into a sprint when you need to? And it can be stupid stuff, right? It doesn't always have to be a major intervention. I know drinking from this mug, he holds up his branded mug, always brings a smile to my face. I know stupid songs that I sing out loud to myself will bring a smile to myself. I know certain individuals will always make me smile. So, I've got certain people, if I've got a big meeting, I will ring them before the meeting. They'll be like, "Oh, do you need anything?" "No, I just want to put a smile on my face before I go to this big meeting," because I know it will make a hell of a difference to the outcome of this meeting. So work out whatever those things for you are, big or small, and start doing more of them.
It's fabulous. I love it. I absolutely love it. I know we've got to stop at the top of the hour, so the clock is ticking. And you did say you liked having the timer there, Faris. So given the time we've got left, would you like to share with us maybe a tidbit? You've already given us so many, but think about, everything that you're doing, and right back to your corporate career, I guess, is there something that you can leave our listeners with as something to ponder and think about, apart from, everything else? What would you like to leave them with?
I think I'd be building on everything I've said today is to your listeners, whatever you're trying to achieve in life, wherever stage you are, go out and ask one additional question today. Find out something new and use that piece of information. Do that every day. See over a month, see the difference that it brings to you. And that's all it takes. Right? Start with one question, one piece of information that you use, and then give it a month. You'll have 30 new pieces of information, 30 new people, whatever. And hopefully that will bring some value to you and your business.
I love that. Evolving the self and evolving the world and others at the same time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Faris. I've absolutely loved our conversation. I wish it could keep going, but we're going to leave it there, and maybe we'll have you back at another time. It'd be great to have you.
Always leave something for people to come back to. I love it.
Exactly. Have a good day.